We are live at ASCP annual meeting, Orlando, Florida. Got my good friend Tom Hansel here, and we've got a really good friend, Alex Bardak from the Society for Post-Acute Long-Term Care, or AMDA, who has been our guest at our meeting. So, Alex, welcome.
Yes, thank you, Chad, and it's great to be here. Really great to be here.
So, what are your takeaways so far from being a guest?
Yeah, it's a great meeting. I think I was just remarking that I find that, I've been to many AMDA meetings. It's my first ASCP meeting, and I find that the culture of post-acute long-term care, no matter what profession you come from, is very similar. You can tell the camaraderie, the term family, how close-knit this community really speaks to, the importance of these types of organizations to these professionals.
Yeah, I think it's a good point, because I've always felt that going to your meeting.
Right.
I'm like, oh my God, these are the same people having the same conversation, just one group's physicians and one group is pharmacists. And same fights in the nursing home, same issues. So it's funny you say that. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, you really get the sense that they have this mentality that they need to band together, to work together in order to make change, in order to better lives for their patients. You can also get a sense of the mission, right? I think, Chad, you've done a fantastic job of talking about the mission, that it's all about the patients and residents. I think anybody who, and that really comes across, anybody who touches these patients, I think they have a certain personality. And whether they're, like you said, whether they're a nurse practitioner or a physician, down to CNAs and LPNs or a pharmacist, at the end of it is that they have that same passion, they have the same compassion and empathy for what they do.
Yeah, and I love the theme of focus on the future. And if we certainly could sit here and complain about all the things going on, and Congress didn't do this, and the economy and inflation, but I love the way that ASCP is positioning us as that exists, but let's focus on what we can do, what we can control, and how we can affect, because the population is moving towards home. The population is growing pretty dramatically. How have you been able to see that focus on the future displayed here today?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you see the sort of very optimistic, because what we've gone through in the last 3 years and what the world is going through, not to be too dramatic about it, but truly though, I mean, we have to look at the positives, right? Because there's so much that you could focus on, and what this community has gone through the COVID, I think you can't help but say, we need to work together for a brighter future for ourselves, for patients and residents, for our families, because we've seen the worst. We hope that we've seen the worst, right? So let's focus together. Let's focus on a much brighter future. And Washington is Washington. It goes through ebbs and flows. But I think if you focus on what you want to accomplish, you understand that maybe it won't happen tomorrow. You understand, but you have a goal. You have a passion for it. You're going to get there. You may not get 100% of what you want. You're going to have your stumbling blocks. But I do appreciate and love the vision, the future. And I'll say that in order to accomplish that future, I love the fact that I'm here, that the ASCP and AMDA and others that are in this space need to work together to accomplish it, because there's, like I said, this is a very tight-knit community, and at least we can work together to build that future.
How long have you been at AMDA?
So I started at AMDA in May of 2007.
Oh, wow.
I worked in urology for a couple of years and then came back to AMDA. So it's been, a total of 16, 17 years that I've been in the physician organization space. So yeah, it's been quite
amazing.
A journey.
I mean, I know you've been there since I've been at ASCP, obviously the last 5 years, but you do a great job with AMDA. We look to you for policy help. I know our team looks to you, and we're really thrilled with our partnership.
Yeah, and I had the good fortune to sit in on the Washington update for your session, and I have to say that the collaboration was so evident. The fact that you're supporting many of the same issues that we're working on, whether it's Medicare transparency or appropriate use of antipsychotics or whatever it may be, that we really are working together. And Chad and Arnie and Jim have been such fantastic partners to us on the Hill and federal agencies, and the stuff that you all do. I mean, I think we have a saying in AMDA about punching above the weight. It's evident at ASCP too, and I think if we combine together, we really can get it done.
It's good USA boxing.
Yeah, it is.
Right
Well, there you go.
Good
I love
video.
that video, by the way.
That was fun.
I mean, that was, like I said, talk about punching above your weight class, literally, right? And going to all these events.
I wanted to see Chad in the ring, though. That's what I was hoping that we get a
Yeah.
clip of one of those boxers going after him.
We thought about that for the meeting here. We thought about getting those big sumo suits and having the big ring, but we didn't.
Well, it sounds like a good ASCP Foundation event.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I mean,
who wants to
get it
knock
done.
Chad out? That's great. I love that. I guess if we
put
made
him-
him donate enough to the foundation, it would be worth it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right? Got to get creative.
That's right.
I'd dig deep for that.
Yeah. Well, Alex, thanks so much for stopping by, and thanks for being here.
No, thank you. This has been excellent. I, had learned a lot, and I appreciate the invite. It's been awesome. Thank you, guys.
All right, we're on the air live at ASCP 2023. We're joined by James Duke, who's the Vice President of Clinical Services for Actual Meds.
Good afternoon.
And I'm going to hit him hard with a hard, tough question to start. What is your favorite yacht rock song?
Oh, I love yacht rock. Oh, geez. Probably Heart to Heart. Big Kenny Loggins fan. Saw him in concert this summer with yacht rock. And so, yeah, probably Heart to Heart.
You
Yeah.
know, we tried
Old school stuff.
We tried to get a yacht rock band for the party tomorrow night.
They're quite expensive, sir. Unless you go through James Duke.
we were
I have
trying
some
to get
inside connections. So.
A yacht rock band, not that one. We did get a great band, but we did not end up with a yacht rock band. But maybe next year.
You might actually see me in a yacht rock Halloween costume tomorrow night
There
with
you go.
a little yacht rock hat and maybe.
So while
Who knows?
we're talking about this, what did you think of Chad's blazer
Oh, boy.
last night at the awards
Oh,
banquet?
boy.
You know,
Just
other than
be as honest as you could possibly
all
be.
right. So I'm not a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Me
Well,
neither.
That's okay.
And so, he's dapper as ever. I was gonna bust his chops a little bit about doing some more rowing and
Yeah,
fight
right,
there on
right.
the edges.
Yeah,
But that's okay. It's all right. Him and Sarah are busy raising kids and trying to get closer and closer to get folks. Excuse me, Sarah is busy raising kids, trying to get closer and closer to getting off the payroll, and so we'll give him a pass. You know.
Have I ever told you guys how much I like James?
Well, it was your idea to bring him over here.
And
so-
it was.
Hey,
It's my own fault.
I was going to buy, going to go donate money and buy books and stuff.
Minding
and
your own business.
We're not gonna
Minding my
stop you
own
from that.
business.
On
That's
the way to
right.
the bar.
That's exactly right.
All right, James. What do you like so far about the meeting?
Probably the collaboration and, seeing the same folks, but then also I tell you, and I introduced Chad to my mentee last night. I'm really big, and I've done that for a number of years, but really kind of focused, and it's, I guess, hit me because I'm not necessarily on the back end of my career, but I'm getting far enough along in my career that I'm realizing that at some point we got to carry the torch and pass that torch to some of the other folks within organization, maybe a little bit younger, and they're rip-roaring and ready to go, and just to carry on some of the wonderful things that folks before us and you and Grosso and so many others laid the groundwork before, even very much like they all did with me when I was coming along, 20 years ago, 25 years ago.
Yeah, and you see that. You see the legacies here. The
Yes.
Ralph Schraders and Frank Grosso.
Yes.
And, Gary and those type of things. And now our generation's temporarily holding on.
Right.
But you're absolutely right. Getting the students involved. And
Yep.
What is senior care? What does
That's
that look like?
exactly
So
right.
That's a good point.
Well, and we lost. I kind of feel like we lost, and I see it in all aspects of life, but we kind of lost a little bit of touch during COVID because it wasn't a human touch type situation, where you could really, connect with people maybe as much. And so I think it was during that time that it really hit me that we had to start doing that type of thing with folks. So.
We're on the radio, so you couldn't see James touch my leg, but he did. It's part of that comment.
He's a Bengals fan. He's used to that kind of thing. Used to being consoled.
That's exactly right.
Oh,
man.
Just kidding. No,
James, we're not going to stop you from heading over to the foundation booth to donate your money and get your goods and swag.
Yeah, looking forward to doing that again. Looking forward to tonight with the get together this evening. So I think that'll be a
Well,
good.
we did determine earlier the person that makes the biggest donation will be able to put on boxing gloves and hit Chad at the next USA boxing event.
That's a wow.
So just
That
keep
new
that in
idea
mind.
just happened.
I have 3 kids in college right now cranking out
good.
Chad's donation. Can I still put on the boxing gloves and hit him?
All right. Well, thank you very much, James.
You
I
got it, my
appreciate you being
friend.
here.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
All right, we're still live at the ASCP annual meeting in Orlando, Florida, and we're joined by another good friend, Tao Nguyen, who is works for Sumitomo, of which sort of won the Hall of Fame award. Your event won the Hall of Fame award, which is now Sumitomo. Tao is a native of Orlando right now. Well, maybe not native, but you live here.
I live here now, as
you
of
live here now.
January.
What can you tell us about the meeting so far?
Well, from the perspective that I hold and being a longtime AACP participant and member, AACP is the Super Bowl of long-term care for us. We treat it as basically the Holy Grail. And we use this time especially for the engagement that it affords us, not just with you, Chad, and members of AACP on the board, Arnie, Government Affairs, and the whole team, but also with the special clients that we want to serve to actually help support the patient needs and the resident needs that we obviously all have the similar goals for. So it is a race, and we're busy all day long. So the value of attending from an exhibitor standpoint and an industry partner is second to none. We get a lot of value out of it. So I know this year not only was the Hall of Fame award awarded to Eurovamp, and to your point, dotted line to Sumitomo, the combination of sponsorship allowed for Monarch sponsorship as well, and the benefits there certainly speak for themselves.
That's awesome.
So what kind of questions and things are you getting from people coming up and talking to you? What kind of dialogue are you having right now? What's the top
Do you
topics?
sell tires too?
They do.
We actually do. Fun fact, right? Sumitomo is a very old Japanese company. As an umbrella company, we merged about 8 affiliates together and therefore created Sumitomo. And it helped expand our portfolio and combine 2 organizations that were heavily entrenched in long-term care for the products and therapeutic space that we represent. So I think the question is, who are we? Because we're really a new company, but old at the same time. And as many of you know, long-term care is a very small world. We end up being the same faces, same voices, same people. We just change company names.
And I think that's important to note because one of the reasons I think that the companies like yours wins the Hall of Fame award is because of the relationship building that is done by the people that work in this industry. And whether that's your colleagues as pharmacists or your colleagues as people that work in industry or other groups that interface with ASCP, that's what makes us so good. It makes us so fun because we get to develop long-term relationships and we get to see everybody every year.
And above and beyond all things, we highly regard the respect ASCP and the membership provides industry. It's unspoken, but I have to tell you that it's not consistent across other dynamics and disciplines. Therefore, I like to think that we reciprocate the value and we try to support one another.
Well, I mean, that's what a good partnership is,
Yeah.
and I've always felt that way. You know, what you bring to our members is a deep understanding of the products that you are selling in the marketplace. And if we don't have that information, we can't do right by the patient. We can't make sure they're on the right drug. We can't make sure that we're protecting against the right side effects or other issues. And if we're not listening and we're not partnering, then we are putting people at risk.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of value, and I think a lot of the medical community, healthcare community, kind of looked the other way and has taken for granted. And you know, COVID tends to be the gift that keeps on giving. Pharma raised to the top, I think, in respect how quickly COVID vaccines came about, and they really leaned on the industry to help support figuring it out and,
Right.
and finding a solution to a problem that everybody was dealing with.
Yeah, it was kind of like everybody got to watch real world product development in real time, and how important that is.
Yeah.
And it's still safe and effective.
Yeah.
There was a way to fast track that, continue to keep it safe and effective.
That's right. So that's recent. But in the end, we want to continue to partner. We definitely absolutely value, and I want to spread the word and support one another. But and at the same time, trying to change opinions across other dynamics on a more global level. Just because access is very important to us, and these association meetings allow for that. But what happens afterwards? And I think that's really the definition of a partnership. It can't be just a single date.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And I mean, it's truly a relationship, long-standing, and the value needs to be understood on both sides.
Yep. Well, Tal, thank you for being here. Thanks for what you do, and thanks for being such a good friend to ASCP.
Greatly appreciate it. Thank you
Thank
both.
you. Yeah.
Thank you all. Thank you for the membership.
All right, we're live at ASCP annual meeting. We are joined by board member Jessica Androff, president of Consanas Pharmacy.
Hello.
New member of the executive committee of the board. Let's see, good first question. Give me the best, how do I ask this question? I want to hear that Minnesota accent. Give me the best phrase or word that your accent.
Oh, you betcha.
There you go. Fargo, I love it.
Get the soda.
We go out on the boat a lot.
That's awesome. All right, well, Jessica, what do you think so far of the meeting?
It's a good show. I'm happy to see here. It's Old Home Week for a lot of people. We're seeing all the people that we're used to seeing every year. It's a lot of fun. I think we've got a really good representation from vendors. Excited to see all these people sponsoring this year, and really good sessions so far. It's been a good show.
Good. We've been doing. You're like our fourth guest. No one has stopped to take pictures of anyone. So you have a whole fan base out here.
As always,
Yes.
she's used to that.
Yes.
Paparazzi wherever she goes.
Yes.
Yeah, they're gonna put it on like the weird social media site that we have.
Oh boy. Were you there for Dr. Drew today?
I was there for Dr.
What did you
Drew.
think of him?
I thought he was great.
Yeah.
It was really interesting how he took us back way further than most of us have thought about in the opioid addiction and all of the other factors that are involved. He was really good at answering the questions that the audience asked. I thought he was great.
One of the best things he said when he came out, he said, I can't believe, it's bewildering to me that pharmacists do not have prescriber provider opportunities. And he said, I'm going to focus on that. Like that's important. Like now that I understand that, and he said even as as a psychiatrist, he said you guys have more abilities and opportunities that make sense there to prescribe. I mean, what did you think about that? And
He's
that
100% spot on. And he was kind of knocking the psychiatrists a little bit, like they don't have any training in this. And I think we're well poised to be able to support all of the medical professions in prescribing practices, and we know what we're doing.
So the theme is focus on the future. What does that mean to you, being in this industry so long, understanding the last 20 years, and then focusing on the next 20? What does that mean to you?
I think we've got to be agile. We've got to evolve. We got to think about how we do things differently than we've done in the past. We've got to be willing to make changes that are sometimes hard and maybe take a couple steps back to be able to move forward. I'm excited for the future. I feel like we're on I said this the other day in our focus group, I feel like we're right on the edge of a sea change in our industry, and it's really exciting to be there.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Let's see. What other question can we ask Jessica?
What are you wearing at the costume party tomorrow night?
Good question.
Are you going as a pharmacist?
I am not going as a pharmacist, so I'm not much of a costume person. But my daughter was like, Mom, you've got to dress up. So we talked about it, and I think if I have the guts, I will be a Swiftie.
Oh, wow. See, we got our costumes the same way. My daughters also gave me my costume ideas.
So you're going to go as a Swiftie too?
No, but that was the one thing, that was the first thing they said, and that was the one thing I said I would not go as. So I'm going as something out of their mind, but we'll find out tomorrow.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Better, anything's better than the Dijon mustard blazer.
There we go.
Just throwing it out there.
She's a Viking fan.
Yeah.
Quasi Viking. I'm a Gopher fan.
Oh, okay. Well.
You wear
You can-
maroon, I will stand up and clap.
Oh, I already have a maroon jacket. Maybe next
Perfect.
year. There you go. Well, Jessica, thanks for stopping by, and thanks for your service to ASCP, and thanks for being here.
Thanks for wrangling me in.
All right.